Hello, fellow traders. Nutty Bar Trading coming to you. And in today's video, I am going to review Take Profit Trader. We're going to look at the pros and cons and what I like, what I don't like. And I've been meaning to do this video for quite some time, and I'm just finally getting around to doing it. I'm actually glad I waited because I actually went through the evaluation process. I actually went through the pro account process and actually also went through the withdrawal process as well. So I feel like I have a pretty good handle on what I like and what I don't like. And there's definitely things that I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of what and how Take Profit does it. Um, so I'm gonna try and give my unbiased and honest review, and then I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. If you like if the good outweighs the bad according to your assessment, and you want to use Take Profit, you're more than welcome to. But my goal here is just to give an honest review of what I like, what I don't like, and want a full disclosure. Yes, I am affiliated with Take Profit. It does support the channel if you click the link below, or if you use the code NuttyBar when you purchase an account, etc. That does support the channel. I do appreciate it. And again, this is not, I'm trying not to come across as me promoting Take Profit, more that I want to give my honest review, because I'll be honest, since going forward, I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to use Take Profit going forward. And I think you'll understand why once I go through the video. But again, what's important to me might not be important for you, and vice versa. So I'm just, again, try and give an honest review and leave it up to you guys. So let's just dive right in. Hang on, we got to hide this. Okay. My honest review. We just went over this. All right. So we will start with the pros. So this is what I like. The pros are, for an evaluation account, you can pass an evaluation account in 5 days, which is pretty good. Apex has 7 days. Top Step, you can do it in 2 days. I'm going to try not to do a comparison video. So I'm going to try and stay on topic and only talk about Take Profit, what I like. The pros, the second one here is fair pricing on evaluations. Again, they run a lot of discounts. They run a lot of promotions. For example, right now you can get, if you use the code NuttyBar, 50% discount. And the promotion they're running right now, you can get 50% off. And then if you pass that evaluation account, they will put you in the pro account, but you will also then get another free evaluation account. So, that's kind of the promotion they're running now. And then I would call it, they have fair pricing. They obviously don't have the lowest pricing in the industry, but I call it fair. The next thing I like about Take Profit is the wallet feature. Now, to some, it might not really be a big deal, and it really, I guess, isn't a big deal, but it's something from using Take Profit for about 2 months that it is actually nice. It's kind of nice to have. And basically what that is, if you're trading with Take Profit and you request a withdrawal, it's really simple to do that. And those funds you withdraw and they go into your wallet. And it's basically just a holding but I guess for me, what's nice about it is I can then choose to accumulate the balance on that wallet and then use it to buy more accounts or use it for resets or whatever. And or you can just withdraw it into your bank account or into PayPal. They have different options available that you just withdraw into your bank account. But I did like that feature. So for you, might not be a big deal. Then the next one is the end of day drawdown. Again, TakeProfit has end of day drawdown, which I always think is good, but it does come with a daily loss limit on it. So I kind of, to each its own. I'm not a huge fan of the daily loss limit, but it kind of comes with that end of day drawdown. Now, I want to make sure you know this. The end of day drawdown is only on the evaluation accounts. We'll cover the rest in the cons. Then the other thing I like about it is there's no scaling plan once you go into the pro account. So I guess I should maybe clear things up a little bit with TakeProfit, you start out with the evaluation account. Once you pass that, you get put into a pro account. Okay, and then once you reach a certain profit threshold in the pro account, then you will be moved into the Pro Plus account, which is a live account, and you will be, a professional trader, which means you have to pay the monthly data fees like any other prop firm. And so when I talk about the Pro Plus account, I'm talking about the live account. When I'm talking about the Pro account, I'm talking about the funded sim live account where you will get payouts from those accounts, but it is on a sim account. Hopefully that makes sense. So no scaling plan on the pro account, so that's always a benefit. And then, I call this a benefit. So they have an option to reset your pro account. An option to reset your pro account if you blow it. And now I'll just share a little bit my experience. So I ended up blowing my pro account, which I'll go in detail a little bit later. And I still had some profits in that account. So therefore I was able to withdraw some, basically 50% of those profits, which we'll go in detail a little bit later. But then I had the option to reset the pro account, which basically means you would reset it and you'd start fresh and you wouldn't have to go through the evaluation process. But it's really expensive. For example, I had a $150K account and I had about $1,500 of profit in it. And the cost to reset that account was $1,500. Which to me, I don't see why anyone would do that. To me, that's just like way extreme, extremely expensive. So for me, it didn't make sense. But depending on your situation, whatever it is, obviously to each his own again, to each his own. And the next thing, the pros is there's no consistency rule on the funded accounts, which is, I always look at that as a good thing, especially when there's no scaling plan and there's no consistency rule. Now, that is good, which basically allows you to make a lot. Like for some people, this is really important. And for those big risk takers, where once they get a pro account, they'll try and get, above that profit threshold in one day. Now, for me, that's not how I trade. So these rules aren't that important, but for some people that is very important, and it does give you that option and opportunity to have really large profitable days. So, that is a pro. And then also a clear path to a live account, which is the Pro Plus account. Basically, once you have 20,000 in profits, I tried to verify this. It was a little bit difficult getting this information, but through their support, basically once you get 20,000 in profit per pro account, then they will move you into the Pro Plus account, which is the live account. And then as far as platforms go, they offer the main platforms, like pretty much standard for most prop firms. So TradeEvade, NinjaTrader, that is an option for you. And then the rules, when I'm talking about rules, I guess I should maybe reword this to profit threshold versus drawdown. I'm not going to go over exactly what each account size, drawdown versus profit target is, but it's very consistent with other prop firms. Nothing out of line. Just I would say it's consistent with other prop firms, like the standard. And then the other pro is there is a 90-10 profit split in the Pro Plus account. So once you move into the Pro Plus account, then there is a 90-10 profit split. Now, I'm not going to keep going over this, but obviously the way these prop firms kind of have things set up, I always have struggle. I struggle a little bit with what is the benefit of going into a actual live account. Because most of these profit firms, you're basically just taking your profits from your pro account, which is a live sim account. You're just taking those profits and moving it into a live account and trading with those profits, and that is what your drawdown is, which then brings the question, why not just withdraw it and, fund your own account and not have to do a 90-10 profit split? So, I don't know. I think, again, to each his own, but I always question what the benefit is of that. But I wanted to list it as a pro that it is a 90-10 split, and we'll go over in a little bit what the profit split is on the pro account. The other thing is withdraw as many times as you want. This is a really big deal, or I think it is. Like, to me, this was one of the benefits and the reasons that I tried TakeProfit was because there's no limitations on withdrawals, but there is an asterisk behind that. Okay. And let me explain it a little bit better, and we'll go over it more on the con side, but there's an asterisk behind that. And it's basically, you can withdraw as many times as you want after you are over the profit threshold. So that's kind of the key that I would say they don't really advertise that, and you kind of have to dig through some of the small details and the fine print to understand, okay, or I feel like it's a little misleading when they advertise that there's no limitations on withdrawing when, yeah, there is. When you want to withdraw before you get to the profit threshold, then there's definitely limitations. Basically, you have to close the account. So, but once you're above the profit threshold, there is no limitations on how often you can withdraw. I've seen people that withdrew 3 times per day. So you can withdraw as many times as you want per day. It's not even per day limit. You can withdraw your profits Monday. You can withdraw your profits Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You can withdraw 3 times a day, whatever you want and however many times you want, which, like, that is a really good thing. But that really only applies to once you're above the profit threshold. And there's basically penalties if you withdraw within that profit threshold. So want to make that very clear. Okay, and then we have, there is no transaction limit on Pro Plus accounts. And we'll go over this a little bit more in the con side, but basically the Pro account, as you'll see in a little bit here, you can only have 50 transactions per day. But on the Pro account, with the Pro Plus account, which is the live account, there are no limitations. There's still no consistency rules, and there is no transaction limit on once you go to an actual live account. And last but not least is their customer service is really good. I reached out multiple times to customer service to clarify things I had questions on, and they were really helpful. Responded really quickly. So I definitely would give them a 5 stars on their customer support. Okay, let's go to the con side. So the cons now, some of these are like hard to look at as cons maybe, but I put them down as such. And it kind of depends on who you're comparing it to or what you're used to, but this is what I did. So 3 accounts per user. You can have 3 pro accounts per user, which basically means, you can't have 3 pro plus accounts and 3 pro accounts, but you can have 2 pro accounts and 1 pro plus account. But the combination between a pro and the pro plus, which is a live account, you can only have 3. So for some, that's a plus. For me, primarily trading with Apex, I kind of use the standard of 20 counts as the standard. So that's why it's on the cons. But I guess you could go either way with that. It just, again, kind of depends on who you compare it to. The second one, this is a pretty big one. Only 50 transactions allowed per day on the pro account. Now, I have a couple comments on this. And those that have been following me know this is the rule that I violated and lost my pro account on. So maybe I'm a little bit biased. Okay. So keep that in mind. But I really don't like the rule. I get why they're doing it. I wouldn't mind the 50 transaction rule. I wouldn't mind it actually if they made it easy to track. It's very difficult and very complicated to actually know where you're at. They try and explain it on their website, which, it was my fault. I miscounted I literally miscounted, and that's why I broke the rule. And that's on me. I'm not blaming them, but I do think that TakeProfit could do a better job of making it where it's easily seen on their dashboard that, hey, this is the transactions you've made today, where it's updating. And right now you have to basically log into TradeEvate, and you have to use a filter and make sure you're only looking at filled orders. But then on top of all that, TradeEvate, they look at a day as midnight to midnight. That's one day for them. But on TakeProfit, they look at a one day as 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern when the market opens until 5 p.m. Eastern time the next day. So the way that TakeProfit is looking at a day to count all of your transactions is different than what TradeEvate is looking at. So even if you know all that, it's still difficult to track. And it just, to me, here's what I really don't like. If you want to have 50 transaction rule, okay, fine, do it. But make it so that the person cannot place a trade once they're at 50 transactions. Don't fail them and don't allow them to even place a trade after 50. Because this is one of those rules where it feels a little predatory in a sense of A, it's hard to track, and B, they allow you to, like, I know there's things they can do that will just prevent you from placing a trade. It's kind of the same thing as some prop firms have a scaling plan, or they have a limit on how many contracts that you can trade, right? So let's say it's 10. For example, I'm trying not to compare, but I am going to. For Apex, for example, on a 50K account, you can't trade more than 10 contracts. That's what it says. That is their rules. And if you accidentally have an order and you accidentally have a quantity of 12 and you try to place that order, it'll reject it. It won't allow you actually to take the trade. So therefore, you can never break that rule. They have things put in place where you can't accidentally break the rule. It's just impossible. That's where I have, and that action like that, to me, that helps the trader. that is helping the trader, where here it's more like, hey, if you happen to go over, too bad, you blew the account. And I get that there's a fine line. I try not to be in a victim mentality. Like, there's a fine line where we as traders, we have to take accountability as well. We're the ones, like, for example, I knew the rule for the 50 transactions. I knew the rule, and I can take responsibility for that and for not counting correctly and then going over that rule. Therefore, I broke the rules and I lose the account. I'm not debating that, and I think that's fair. But if you're really trying to help the trader and your goal is to help the trader not trade too much in a day, then block them from placing a trade once they're at 49 transactions. That to me is now helping the trader and not setting them up to fail, where the other way, you're kind of just hoping they go over the 50, they blow the account, what happens next. So that's my thought on the 50 transactions. Those are my honest thoughts. So we'll leave it at that. Okay, then we have the activation fee. This is also kind of hard to put on as a con, but they do have an activation fee. Once you pass the evaluation, there is an activation fee of $130 to move into the pro account, and it doesn't matter what size account you have. That's the only kind of con I would say. Is I think it always makes more sense for the activation fees to be a little bit higher on the 150K account, but on the 50K account or the 25K account, I just don't feel like it's quite makes sense to have that fee be the same, but it is what it is. The other con is 20K max withdrawal allowed per pro account. Again, I look at that as kind of a con, but it's also not, it's not really, but you are a little bit limited on how much profit you can make if you do not want to go to an actual live account. And there's quite a bit of traders, trading prop firms, where they don't want to go to a live account because they don't want to be classed as a professional trader and deal with all the fees and all that stuff. So cannot withdraw within the profit threshold unless you close the account. This is a big one. And this is something I wasn't fully aware of when I started out with TakeProfit. Only came to kind of understand it a little bit better once I was in my pro account and looking to make withdrawals. I kind of understood exactly what was happening and how everything worked. But basically, I'm just going to explain. For example, on a 150K account, the profit threshold was, I want to say 4,000. Maybe it was 4,500, but I think it's 4,000. So basically what that means is if I choose, like, again, they say there's no limitations, no withdrawal restrictions. This is where that asterisk comes in, because if you want to withdraw any profits before you get to that $4,000 profit threshold, then you have to close the account. You basically have to close the account, and then you will only get 50% of those profits. So they really deter you from doing that. Now, what I will say where it's kind of a good thing, the way they have it is that does allow you, if you go over the 50 transactions or you violate a rule and you have like $3,000 in profit, obviously the account is blown, but they will allow you to withdraw 50% of those profits. So I guess that's a good thing, and that's the only time that I would see that someone would actually make a withdrawal before they get to the profit threshold. That would be the only time to me that it would make sense. But again, like I said, once you get above that profit threshold, then it really is an open door, and then yes, you can withdraw as much as you want. And as often as you want. I guess not as much as you want. You can't withdraw into the profit threshold, which I also don't like. again, if you withdraw going into the profit threshold, you're going to have to close the account. So I'm not a fan of that. And then no trading tier 1 news events. This is very standard. I don't even look at this as a bad thing. This is very standard across prop firms. And then, so it's 80-20 profit split on the pro account. So once you're above the profit threshold, then it's an 80-20 split. So the 80-20 isn't really that great for this industry. The standard is 90-10. Now, as you saw, they do have a 90-10 profit split once you move to the Pro Plus account, but while you're in the Pro account, it's only an 80-20 profit split, and then obviously a 50-50 split if you were, within that profit threshold. So again, to each his own. And then last, also not least, is once you move into a Pro account, you no longer have end of day drawdown. Now you have intraday trailing drawdown, but you still have a daily loss limit. So again, I'm not a huge fan of that. Most, they will allow you, with a daily loss limit, you'll have end of day drawdown. Not a huge fan that once you move into a Pro account, you switch to an intraday trailing drawdown. Now, for me personally, I've never really been one to have big issues with intraday trailing drawdowns. It's kind of actually helped me to take my profits. It does make you maybe more of a scalping trader than anything, but it's personally, for me, it's not a huge deal, but I know for some people that is a huge deal. So I did want to make sure I point that out. So all right, we're already at 26 minutes. This took longer than I thought it would, but I wanted to cover everything and just share my thoughts on what I like, what I don't like. And again, I'm hoping you found that this was fair. Hopefully I didn't miss anything major. I try to go through everything and not miss anything. If I did miss something, or if I was incorrect in something that I said, please point it out in the comments below. And I'll pin the comment if I find that I was incorrect, just to make everyone aware. My goal is to be transparent and make sure that I'm representing things correctly to you guys. So hopefully you find this helpful. Again, I want to leave it up to you guys. If you find these rules to be worth it, something you want to try, and you want to try Take Profit, use my code, use the link down below to sign up. It does support the channel, and I really do appreciate it. And thank you. So that's it. We will end it here, and we'll see you around. Take care, and God bless.